Welcome back to Magnetic Style Podcast. I am your host, Chiara Condemi, and I have the pleasure today of welcoming my very first guest, someone I've known for quite a while, a brilliant woman, a communication and marketing expert, and the host of the Gloneration podcast, Simona Lodolo. Simona,
Ciao Chiara,
welcome!
thank you. Ciao Chiara, thank you for having me.
Ciao! It's so beautiful to have you here. Let's start with a bit of nostalgia. Do you remember how we met back then in Perugia?
Yes, I wouldn't say a bit. I would say lots of nostalgia because I always remember us and our time in the university in Perugia. This little small town in the middle of Italy was so nice. Seeing so many people coming from everywhere to this little town, learning Italian in that case. It was so nice. I loved it. I loved the time.
It was a very, very good time.
She could be back there.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's been a while now. And as it often happens in life, over the years, we reconnected on LinkedIn and we discovered how our paths kept evolving. And I believe we both have a shared passion for meaningful connection and self-expression. So this is why I decided to ask you to be my very first guest.
I'm honored. I love your project. I love the way you're coaching and you're spreading your message. So I'm honored. I don't know if I will be good enough.
Of course. So I have prepared some questions for you. I hope they will be interesting and inspiring for our audience. So basically, I am planning to go through your global life and personal growth. So some question about that. And then we will dive into, of course, style and identity evolution. And finally, I want to know something more about your podcast and, this adventure and Simona's voice. So this is going to be the plan.
A wonderful plan, I would say.
Great. So
I'm
start.
ready.
You've lived and worked in several parts of the world, from Italy to China and now the US in Chicago. How has this international journey shaped you personally and professionally? And were there any moments of real challenge or transformation that deeply marked you?
That's a very good question, Chiara. Honestly, I've always wanted to go abroad. I ended up to be in Perugia studying, but honestly, I wanted to go studying abroad. But at the time, my family is a very traditional family. Nobody studied at university before me, so they felt it could be a little bit challenging for them, not for me. So I ended up in Perugia, but I always had this will to travel, to learn different cultures. So when my husband, I have to say, got the chance to go to China, I wanted to go, but I had many fears. I feared differences in the culture. Our daughter was very small, so I didn't take the chance.
How old was your daughter?
She was a little bit 1.5.
Yeah.
So I took her as an excuse not to go at first. But it was because I was scared of differences. And especially, from Italy to China, it was a big step. But then 1.5 years later, we ended up going to Shanghai, which I loved. And in China, I learned that our culture sometimes is a great value, but it's also a limit in the sense that when I moved to China, I was also already 30 something. So I had many years of full immersion in my own culture and my Italian. My family is quite traditional. I grew up in a small town. So I felt that everything, my culture filtered everything of my experience. I tend to judge everything I was experiencing in China with my Italian filter. And this is totally wrong because this doesn't help you to really immerse yourself and live 100% and learn from different cultures. Little by little, I learned to appreciate without have any judgment. So for example, in Italy, we tend to value family a lot. This is the same, for example, for China. While when we move to US, it's a totally different approach to family. They value family a lot, but everyone in the US, for example, is very independent. I love that here they have many siblings. My daughter classmates have at least 2 to 3 siblings, which is amazing. Large families is like being in Italy 40 years ago, no longer the case now. But everyone is busy doing many things. Parents are working, the kids are busy doing something else. So they have a different way to live the family. So it's not something that you see
More
very often.
freedom, let's say, it's more
Independent. They are
free
independent
approach.
from a very early age. Totally different in Italy because, as you know, many Italian keep staying and living with the parents quite long.
Yeah,
And it's
very
not
close.
just
Yeah, everyone keeps the others very close. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, yes, yes. And you tend to, when you see differences, you tend to judge, while you really have to take this judgmental approach off the page so that you can really see things and appreciate and learn from different cultures, which sounds very easy, but it's really, really not easy at all because that's why I think I appreciate my daughter and I think it will be easier for her because she learned just to appreciate the others, other cultures, other habits, and she doesn't even see the differences as such. She just sees that everyone is unique and this is something that I love, so she will never have this strong feeling of differences as a plus or minus. So this is something that I learned and I'm still learning because sometimes I still look at things with my Italian traditional eyes, which is, as I said, it's wrong. It's something that you really need to take off your vocabulary if you want to be really, travel and be a global one.
Yeah.
And this also, if I have to say, this help also help me in a professional life because, for example, the way leadership is perceived in Italy is different from the one is perceived in China and totally opposite to the one here in the US. So me, I learned to listen much more than just talk. So I had the feeling at the very beginning when I moved that the leadership is about explaining to others what to do, how to do it, now being followed by the others. But actually, people appreciate authenticity. And if you are able to build a trust, then they follow you. But the trust is really strongly linked with the capability of listening. If you don't listen and you just go with
the connection you're able to build with someone else, of course, so they can trust you and also find something in common that you have in common. And yeah, I agree with that. Leadership is definitely no bossy, not others following you, but it's much more being an example, inspiring and having a vision.
Yeah, I think I learned much more from the people I work with, regardless the roles that we had. So it didn't matter whether I was leading a team or following my boss, but whenever there was this deep trust, deep listening, and deep passion for understanding each other, then this made the difference. And this is still linked to what I just said about not being judgmental, not saying, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how it is. This is completely wrong. There are other people, you need to listen to other people. You need to listen to young people. Are they different? For
And
sure.
actually, you noticed for sure, diversity is becoming a value in every company, in every organization. Diversity and inclusion, that finally authenticity and diversity is recognized as a value, and this is huge. It's really important for the new society we're trying to build, I believe.
Yes, yes. And I'm very happy for the future, for future generations, because this approach will enrich everyone. So I think that I wish I could be an 18 years old or be in Perugia now, ready to start my career now, rather than it was much more difficult for some aspect when we were younger than now.
So, Simona, what did you discover about yourself while adapting to so many different cultures and environments?
Such a great question. So I think in this last 12, 15 years of global movement, I understood that I'm really the only one responsible for creating my own future and my own life. Because we Italians sometimes tend to find excuses. It's always someone else's fault. It's government fault. Is family's fault. Is whatever fault. But through this moves, I understood that you need to work on yourself and you really need to shape your attitude, your culture, and you can create something very unique. You don't have to think about what other people think. You just need
Point.
to really build yourself as you would like you to be. So is it easy? No, definitely not. Because especially in other cultures, you feel judged, but it's your personal. Honestly, 100%, 90% of the time, it's your own feeling that whatever you do, how you dress, since also it's one of the topics you talk about, can be an object of judgment from the others. Honestly, most of the time is just your fear, is not what's happening. So, for example, for how you wear is not something that people cares all the time. Maybe in Milan they care more than somewhere else, but here, for example,
But
in Chicago,
still, everybody is caring about their life, actually, at the end of the day.
exactly. You are totally right. So I really understood that. Honestly, go for your path. Nobody cares too much in the sense that really you'll never know what they really think most of the time. Just go and be yourself. This is also linked to one aspect, which is you need to learn to be alone and to be with yourself. Moving, especially far away, first in China and then now in the US. I felt alone so much for so long. You live in a 25 million city like in Shanghai, but sometimes you feel alone and you have to live with it, work with it, no? Deal with yourself and do something with yourself. So this is a key skill for people who wants to move. It has been a key one for me, and definitely I discovered that I need to deal with myself, and I need to do always the best of what I can do and what I will be. So that's the most difficult part of and discovery I made about myself.
And you know what? Loneliness part is actually a crucial aspect of my method as well, because I believe that you must force yourself sometimes, even if it's not natural. You're forced to be alone, to be, and you feel lonely, but it's needed because it's a moment you really look into yourself. And there is so much noise around that sometimes we don't even have the time or the chance to do that. This is actually a crucial aspect of my method, a very important one, and this is something I suggest to my client to do. Stop the noise and isolate almost yourself to really get in touch with who you truly are. And it sounds like almost natural, but it's not. Actually, it's not so easy. And until you are forced to do that, you don't understand how important it is, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm really, really keen to learn from your podcast because even if I found myself in these situations every time I move, and I'm still feeling this after 2 years here in Chicago, but I think it's super important. So I'm really eager to learn some suggestions from you because I'm still struggling sometimes because it's not that everyone you like yourself. So that's why you need to build yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and you need to work, of course, on the side that you don't like because you can work on them too.
Yes, yes,
I have
yes.
another question for you about this global life, and I would like to ask you: is there any outfit or item that has always traveled with you across the country? Something that for you feels like home almost.
So, in terms of outfits, not really, because I keep changing a lot and adapting sometimes to the work I do, the job I'm doing, the position or the role, the cultures, so the country I am. So in China, I bought everything and so many things.
It's part of the
Mm,
evolution. It's part of it.
yeah, it is. It is. And also, it's part of the fun, honestly. So it was very nice. But in terms of item, I have a box. A former colleague of mine and a very great friend of mine from Milan gave me before leaving to China is a box and where of course it contains a very nice message about being strong, being able to face challenging times. And every time I feel I need some motivations or some support, I go read the message. And I also learned to put some tips on it. So I'd write whenever I find something that is useful for myself, a message, a quote from someone else, I put it in the box. So it's a kind
Wow,
of
that's really sweet. And it's actually a useful tool I could use in my method too. You gave me a very good
oh, great.
idea, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, I love
because,
it
yeah,
because
it's really
go
important
ahead.
for your personal growth and also for your confidence and to be and being in touch with yourself and your feelings. So yeah, I love it. I love this one.
Yeah, because sometimes I forgot uh, that I had the same challenge maybe in the past and I made it out. And so this is a way for me to have the tips that whenever I encounter some
What you
challenging time.
survived already. You remember what you survived
Yes,
already. Wow,
yes,
beautiful.
yes,
I love
yes,
it.
yes. In terms of style, honestly, I love to change. I really like to evolve. And one day I'm in one style, the other one I'm totally different. In China, I also love to wear something traditional, like a qipao, for example, whenever I wanted to celebrate and show respect for the cultures. So, and I also love to try and experiment with styles. I think I learned to appreciate also young designers in China. They were amazing. So I have some items that I brought here, and I love when people say, "Oh, this is wonderful," and I really love to say, "Oh, this is from a Chinese designer."
Yeah, this is also something that gives meanings to what you wear, which is so powerful because when you wear it, you know the meaning it has and it gives you energy about that too. So I completely agree with this.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is
You're right.
really special. This is really special. This is also what authenticity is all about. Finding your own way to express, and probably you have different moods, so you want to experiment, but also you are giving meaning to everything you wear, everything you choose. And this is so beautiful, so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to tell the story of what I wear. That's why I buy a little bit less now. But I like to tell the story of why I'm picking that. So not just to to show that it's
This is the
nice.
most sustainable way to a good wardrobe, I believe. Because when it has a
Mm,
meaning, it's gonna be forever for you.
Right. And honestly, I have to say that the small walk-in wardrobe here in Chicago help a lot because I had to select quite a lot. So you learn to select what really has a meaning for you and just leave what is just item.
Yeah, exactly. Superficial. So let's go a little bit deeper on style and identity evolution. As you know, here I love to explore the relationship between style and self expression. How has your personal style evolved during your transitions from country to country?
So there is an evolution. We kind of already mentioned that. I think in terms of outfit, you mean outfit, correct? Style.
I mean style. So it's a global perspective. It's yes, it's outfit, but it's also the message you want to give to the world. If probably you felt even stronger or more empowered in some countries instead of others.
So in China, I was working for many fashion brands. So when I moved there, I wasn't really caring too much about my outfit and my style. I've always been very sporty. I used to be a triathlete.
Remember that?
Yes, yes. So I married with one. So I always speak sport has been in my life, and so it was also my priority. So this was comfy, and a pleasure has always been kind of a rule for me. But then moving to China and working more on the fashion side, I learned how to match different items and also play. I learned that fashion is also fun. So you have to do things with passion. And it's not just because you work in a certain area or in a certain role that you have to have a certain dress code. You have to have fun and put your personality in it. So I always have something sporty, but I like to match it with something more classic or with more personality. And this is something that I learned pretty much in China after this evolution. Then here in the US, I kind of step back a little bit on my athleisure because something that I love of Chicago and this area is that they love to wear athleisure. So that's my comfort zone. But yet, I still want to give it a touch. So regardless the fact that sometimes I work from home, I always add a little touch, which is my personality. And again, yes, is something very related to what you said, that you have to tell a story. And this is me. I want to describe myself, even my mood with what I wear, yes.
And the more you're in touch with yourself, the more it's going to be easier to do that in your style as well. So yeah, definitely. This is a very important evolution, I believe. I also, have you ever felt the need to adapt your style to fit in into a new environment? Or did you always feel free to express yourself the way you are, even when your Italian flair stood out?
Oh, tin is a very strong approach and kind of a very strong need sometimes, or skill if you want, being able to fit in a new environment, new culture, new country, new city, new work. And I kind of felt the need to do so, but it was more working on myself rather than no, on my style. So of course my style reflected also the phase I was in. So whenever I started a new job, I was kind of tiptoeing, go little step in, kind of a shy approach, which I'm not shy, but ready to look around, look what other people were doing. I never try to impose myself. I learned not to do so. I wasn't like that at the very beginning because I have a strong personality. But I learned to tiptoeing inside. I look around, took my time to appreciate other people, learn from other people. And then my way to fit in is get something from everyone around me. Get what I like from other people and make it mine somehow. In China, I had
Reinvented, basically.
yes, yes. I loved sometimes in China. I love, for example, some of my colleague had they used to dye their hair with very weird colors. So at some point, I was discussing with them. I said, "Ah, I love this." Blue color of yours, you know, and they said, "Look, they were very young, very young." So they were like, "But blue is not for you. You're too old," you know. They were super funny. So I said, "Okay, let's go for another." So we decided together, let's go for another
Color.
color. So I made my hair pink, which
Oh,
for me was
was already
totally
a
not
huge
even. Yes,
difference.
but yeah, I love that. I wanted to fit in a very fun way, appreciating and taking the most out of the fact that I could do that. Probably in Milan, I wouldn't do that. So I won't do that in Milan.
Why not? I mean, it depends. If it's in your personality, why not? Really, there are no rules in this area. I believe it's just the feeling that we have. Sometimes we feel that maybe you don't have to, but that nobody is telling you that you can.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But it's really
There
what you
are
said
there
is
are people with pink hair and blue hair in Milano too. Actually,
yeah, you're right. You're right. But I never seen myself with a strong color like blue or pink, for example. Red, like now, is fine, but more like a traditional one, and age appropriate sometimes. But being there, you learn, for example, and in that environment, I learned to be more light in some approaches, not to take myself too serious. A hair color doesn't have a specific meaning, so you're not serious. No meaning at all. It's fun. You like it, you can do it. And then if you want to go back, you go back, you know. So that's for me the fit in. Probably in Milan, I would not have the same fun, but I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. I will, no. I would experience the same once there,
I believe
but I
also
love to do that.
going abroad and being in touch with the other people, other culture, other mindsets. It's also that nobody is really judged because it's very diverse. So you don't feel judged as well. Probably in your own country you have more this kind of feeling, So maybe that is why, because you get used to diversity and you are not afraid to try something different. And
Yeah.
this is not happening maybe in your own home.
Yeah, you're right. I think it goes back to this judgmental
Yeah.
pressure that I was discussing before. So yeah, probably. I learned not to have it abroad, but I need to learn not to have it.
Now you have to bring it back at home, this kind of
You're right.
mindset, and keep it, because it's so powerful. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you're right. You're
It's
right.
an asset for sure. And I also
Yeah.
would like to know, were there moments when you felt disconnected from your image? Or on the contrary, moments where your style empowered you during a big change, for example?
I think um, sometimes felt the need to be safe. So I pick, for example, black as a safe choice in many occasions. I don't feel that black really reflect my personality. Uh, but I pick it as a safe choice. I pick it because I didn't have to explain why, or I felt that it would fit almost everywhere. It's easier to adapt. I think, in some atmosphere, in some industries like fashion, luxury, and so on and so forth, black is still easier and one of the most used color. So I tend to do that. Then I also sometimes I don't really appreciate my figure, so black is helpful. So, but Is it really me? Not always. So it's just comfort zone. It is okay, but I feel sometimes that picking black constantly is not representing myself. I feel less empowered, less free to express myself. And so I try to avoid it too often, because then you learn that you feel confident only with that color, with that style. And I don't want to be a slave of some outfits that not always reflect myself. And I have to thank Chicagoans or Midwest here, because they focus on something else. Outfit is not really their priority. So I learned to take it lighter and to be more free on that regard. Obviously, on the other side, I think you need to really care about yourself, what you wear, because you care about yourself. If you don't care about yourself, whatever you wear is good, which is comfortable, easy, fast, but
It
it means
shows up.
that you're not taking care, or you're not dedicating enough time to yourself. And I'm not talking about superficial meaning. I'm talking about a very deep meaning. You need to have time for yourself. Taking the time to try new things, try it on, outfit pairing. And it's a way to really spend time with yourself and know you better. I think this affect me quite a lot.
Okay, so basically the disconnection is the moment that you kind of go safe because you didn't take enough time to care about a little bit more about yourself, about your body. So this is that black comfort zone that you're talking about.
Yeah, or black, or even now the pleasure, just wearing something sporty sometimes, or a jumpsuit, hoodie. It's now American. My daughter always
Yeah.
wear the hoodie. But I also teach her to play a little bit with it. And it's not just because it's sometimes it's better, it's nicer, but it's because it's time for yourself. You don't have to cover up or hide yourself. It's fast, yes, easy, but you need to add yourself to everything you do. So that's why.
Valorize self, valorize.
Yes.
Answer.
I don't know if this empowered. I can't answer. You have to help me in this, because I don't know if this empower.
Of course, yes. And it's also energy. It works on your energy too, I believe. Also, you take care of your body if you do the skincare, if you choose your accessory. So it's all part of the process to increase your energy, which is then something that you can show up when you show up to the world. So your outfit is also showing that too. So it takes your energy and enhance your energy as well.
Yes. So I'm on point.
So let's talk about your podcast, Gloneration. What inspired you to start it, and what does it mean to you?
So many different points. One is for sure that I've been living and moving abroad, so it's a kind of personal. Being a global talent, someone who work abroad or for global brands, is part of my career, my professional path. The second one is that when I was here, I was feeling that I needed to reconnect or even further develop my network. I was kind of feeling that I was losing my connection in China or in the rest of the world, and I wanted also to develop more here locally. So I needed a way to do so. And the second one that I was reading articles about brain drain, so the fuga dei cervelli in Italy. Many young people wants to go abroad, mainly, if not only, because the salaries are different. So I said, this is something not right. This is just a superficial idea of people going abroad, being an expat, and so on. So I decided to have a podcast, which could be a way to share real experiences. So I started reconnecting with some of my friends, people I met in my Chinese path and here as well. So I wanted them to share their real experience, including, I'm not talking about practical things like how to get a visa, how to get a bank account, because there is plenty of. But I wanted them to share their own experience, the struggle, suggestions, the skills they need to develop, how they handle cultural differences, funny moments, scary moments, which everyone is plenty of, especially at the very beginning when you move, because moving for the wrong reason is going to affect not only that specific experience, but probably larger part of your future. If you move to China and you don't appreciate the country, the culture, the people, then it's going to be tough. If you move to US and you don't appreciate what is good here and what you can learn here, it's going to be tough. So it's not just moving somewhere just because you earn more. You need to be prepared, and you need to be prepared to change a lot and work on yourself every single day. And that's why Gloneration. So for me, there should be a new generation of global talents and brands that is really open to move, to change, to
grow.
yes. Yeah,
I believe,
that's
yeah,
why.
I
For
believe
me,
growing is part of the process when you go abroad. It's really growing a lot, and
yes.
it probably happens faster than if you're staying in your country, in your comfort zone.
It depends because not everyone is ready for it, is able and capable to do that. That's why I wanted to share these experiences, because if you think that moving, you're Italian, you're earning 2,000 euro per month, and you think, okay, I go abroad and I earn 6,000 per month, 7,000 per month easily. I think you should also think what you have to do.
The what?
There is plenty of other things that you need to count and that really have a value. Okay, so I didn't like the superficial talk. So I said, let's change a little bit the narrative. At least if I could do something to change this narrative, I have to do it. And that's it. So that's why I
Great job.
tried.
Great job. Do you think storytelling has the power to help people feel more connected, especially in today's world of fast change and social pressure?
I do. I'm sure of it. I think storytelling, but also being authentic in it, not just creating your own image,
Yes.
like calculating. Yeah, I think it's super important. And people love authenticity. That's also, I decided not to interview only CEOs, CFOs. I think people love different paths, different roles, different industries. They love personal stories. They want to see themselves. They want to feel that they can do it, they can learn, and they can choose where they want to go and where they want to arrive. Not everyone wants to be a CEO or a CFO or work in a specific industry. So I wanted to give different point of view. The the personal story is a key way to understand how to grow and how to change yourself and adapt yourself in your own build yourself on your path. Yes.
Yeah. And would you say starting Gloneration helped you reconnect with a part of yourself that maybe got quiet during your international journey?
So I really hate to be in front of a camera. I hate it. I did it for you because I love your project. But even in my own project, I tend to stay in a corner.
behind the scene.
As questions appear at least as possible. So I had to put myself out there. For the first season of Gloneration, I decided to do only audio because I wasn't really feeling okay to show myself. I was criticizing myself in every single element, style, voice, setup, everything.
But you know what? Here you are in a safe space because here is not about perfection. This space is about being real. So you're in a safe space here. So this is not
Thank you,
about
Chiara.
perfection. I am not perfect at all, and I understand you. For me, it's a challenge to talk to a camera, and this is why also I am doing it because I believe we have to push ourselves a little bit sometimes.
No, I love this. I think you helped me to understand that even after 9 months of my podcast, you helped me to understand that the message is more important than everything else. Even if you, honestly, style for you, is a key topic.
It is, but even style is not about perfection. It's really about authenticity because perfection doesn't exist. So even you with your style in Gloneration, in the way you present yourself, it doesn't have to be like you're the most elegant in the room. It doesn't matter because that's not personality at all. So yeah, I loved it immediately. When I saw you launching the podcast, I loved it. And I said, wow, that's beautiful. Then I followed you immediately. And this is what is really important, you know, your authenticity, what comes up and what value you have and you give to the world. Yeah.
Thank you
You're
so much.
perfect, and I will say everything to this thing to everyone. You are perfect already. You're just to be. You have to be conscious about that. You have to be aware about that. We are the most cruel judges of ourselves. We
It
really
is
are.
true. It is true. It's just true. Yes,
So I'm
absolutely.
happy
Yes.
that you opened to the video podcast because it's gonna be much more powerful.
Yeah, I did it. Now I can't go back. Sometimes it's
Of
just,
course.
you need to jump. And I think US helped me a lot in this, going back to the cultural differences, because I have an approach of failure that is incredibly educational.
I love that. I love that. I
Yeah.
believe the system is not very aligned with that on purpose. In Italy, we are still far from it, but I love that approach. Failure is only when you stop trying. If you fail, you always learn something. There is no such a thing as failure. Only if you stop trying, you fail. So yeah, and it's also, you know, learning from your mistakes because you are gonna get better every time. So yeah, I love this approach. I really love this approach. It's completely the opposite of the school system, and in Italy even worse.
Yes.
We have to say, do not copy, do not make mistake, and you know, you're always penalized because you make mistake, which is something that you really need to do in order to learn. It's the only way. If you don't do mistake, you don't even try. It means you are not doing nothing. So yeah, I love that mentality.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. I think this is the biggest lesson that I got here, and I love also that my daughter has been experiencing this because this will for sure affect her future. So positively,
Yeah, of course.
hopefully.
Of course, not being afraid of showing up and trying. The courage to be seen trying. This is something that, yeah, we really have to work on, but it's a mentality that if you have it, it changes your life. It really changes your life.
Yeah, yeah. That's also something that is linked to the Gloneration. It's like you can't move to some countries if you're not ready to change and doing something that you would not do in your own country. Probably if I were still in Italy, I would never do that. No podcast for me I'm not saying no for sure, but honestly, being here is just you go try, open it, successful, not successful, everything is relative. Keep going. I met someone here in some podcast meeting, and I was presenting mine as a small one. And they said, look, that's big. It's not a small one. It doesn't matter the number. It matters that you're doing it and you're keeping doing it, because 80% of podcasts just die before the eighth episode, you know. So I said, they said, you need to celebrate in a couple of months. It would be 1 year. They said, we need to make a party, you know. I said, but what party for what? You know, I don't have millions of followers. They don't, it doesn't matter, you know. And I love that. This help a lot.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Beautiful. And I have one last question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's navigating a big life change, maybe moving abroad, starting a new job, or redefining their identity, what would it be?
So I think that generally speaking, I would say being ready to embrace a better version of yourself and just growing through a worst version. Because before this growing phase, there will be steps that you won't like it. You will not feel yourself. You will feel alone. So you will feel that you're doing something wrong. You're going on the wrong direction. So it's like when you change a company or a country, you say, what did I do? The first few months, or at least a couple of months, you say, oh no, what did I do? Am I crazy? What did I do? I should never done it. You know, I hate this. I hate everything.
Yeah.
This is part of the process. Before loving something and fall in love with something, you go through a tough period, but don't stop. And then to help me and to help your audience, I would say I read a book which I love, which is Solo bagagli a mano, which is Carry on luggage only, and I think it's only in Italian, which is a pity. Basically, it uses this carry on metaphor, carry on luggage only, as a metaphor of the space that you have and the time that you have. You have a limited space and time, and you can't fit everything in. You need to select what's really important for you, and it might be that you need to take something from your past to make some space for new experiences. So you need to let it go before put in something new. And I love this. It's tough to let go something that sometimes you love, but it's necessary. You cannot fit everything inside. There is not enough space for you to do that. So little by little, let things go to be open to the new one.
Thank you so much, Simona, for sharing your journey with us, full of insights and authenticity. I will wait for you here in Milan as soon as possible, hopefully, and you make a promise now that we're going to catch up as soon as you get to Milano and say hi to my audience again.
Yes, for sure. With great pleasure.
Yeah, and to all our listeners, go check out Gloneration podcast and follow the both of us for more inspiring stories. And until next time, stay radiant, stay real, and never apologize for evolving. Okay.